Hey guys, in this video, I'm going to show you the Creality Ender 2 3D printer that was sent to me by Gearbest for review. This is actually my third 3D printer in the last 4 or 5 years. The very first 3D printer I bought was the XYZ Printing Da Vinci 1.0, which I got about 4 or 5 years ago. And the Da Vinci served me well, but it was getting a little old and it took up a lot of space. It has a lot of good features like a heated glass bed, fully enclosed frame, and it could run third-party Repetier firmware. Overall, it was an affordable 3D printer for its day and great for beginners. I learned a lot from using that printer and was really excited to try this one by Creality since I've been wanting a new 3D printer for a while now. This won't be like a build or assembly video because there are actually a couple of really good ones on YouTube, so I didn't want to reinvent the wheel. So this video will be more like a review with my thoughts and experiences with it so far. Like my other 3D printers, I like to use it with Octoprint. There's a Raspberry Pi distribution called Octopi. It uses Octoprint and allows you to print and monitor your print jobs remotely. You basically slice your jobs and then you upload the G-code to the Octoprint server to start printing it. And the Ender 2 does have a micro SD card reader to read files from, or with the mini USB to plug directly to your computer, but I've always preferred using it with Octoprint. So some of the features of the Ender 2 is the heated bed. The build platform is 150 millimeters by 150 millimeters, and unfortunately it's not a glass bed, but it's still heated, and it could print at resolutions as low as 0.1 millimeters. It does use 1.75 millimeter filament, which can be made out of ABS, PLA, rubber, or wood. The Ender 2 comes in a kit that you have to assemble, so it may scare off some people if they're completely new to 3D printing, and you're really not putting it together from scratch. Most of the components are already assembled, so it's sort of like assembling IKEA furniture. And the way I see it, by putting together your own 3D printer, you'll learn how to fix it easier if something breaks in the future. And it probably took me about an hour and a half. I took my time to make sure it was done properly. If I had to build another Ender 2, since I already have experience doing it, it'd be much quicker, so maybe like 30 or 40 minutes. The one thing I do like is the parts are all nicely labeled in bags, so you know where they go. When installing the end stops and switches, don't over tighten it since the base plates for them are made out of plastic. You'll probably crack it, so just go a little bit easy on them. And the printer does come with two belts. The short one's for the x-axis and the longer one is for the y-axis. Also make sure the belts are nice and tight and not loose. After the assembly, the first thing I did was level the bed, and it was pretty easy since this is a 3-point leveling system. My very first print came out really good, but unfortunately it was stuck on the bed and I damaged the print trying to pry it off. For my initial prints, I was testing it for scale and accuracy, and all the circles were not round but more oval. And from my experience, this is usually an issue with belt tension. So I tightened the belts on the X and Y axes and did another test. It came out perfect this time, and the circle was perfectly round. And here are two robots I printed, and you can see the first one, there is a bit of layer shifting and the head isn't perfectly round. After adjusting the belt tension, it came out much better. Ignore the broken leg of the robot because I broke it trying to remove it from the bed, but overall it was a good print. Now the one thing I'm not really used to is the aluminum bed and surface material. On my Da Vinci 1.0, it had a glass bed and print stuck on it really well and slid off when it cooled. And the Ender's bed grips the print super good, and I actually had a really hard time removing the prints. So after a few prints, I installed a glass bed on top of the aluminum. I got the glass sheet from a square picture frame that I found at a dollar store. It was roughly the same size as the Ender's aluminum plate at 165 millimeters by 165. I removed the blue tack material and attached the glass with a couple of bulldog clips directly onto the aluminum platform. You'll also have to adjust the Z-axis end stops to account for the thickness of the glass. With all glass surfaces, I usually add a bit of ABS juice, which is basically acetone, and a bit of ABS filament dissolved into it. It helps the print stick to the glass. And with the new bed, with the new glass bed, I did another test print and it came out perfect. The print lifted off without any effort at all compared to the stock bed. So here's a print I did with the 3D Vinci, which is a very popular model that you can download. And there was a little bit of layer separation, but that's usually very common with ABS. But overall, it was a very clean print. So I've already 3D printed a bunch of stuff for the Ender 2. This one is an extruder knob, which basically shows you the advancement and retraction of the filament. I didn't have to scale or resize anything, and after printing it, it just fit on like a glove. The same thing for these leveling knobs. Basically, you attach these to make the little knobs to adjust the bed a little bit bigger so you could turn it easier. And again, they just fit on without any rescaling whatsoever. And right now I am 3D printing this belt tensioner for the y-axis, and it came out really well. Basically you attach it here where the belt is, and then you screw on this nut, and then you're able to quickly on the fly adjust the belt tension. So I'm still printing the case here, and I'll also print the three pieces for the x-axis as well. So other than the super sticky print bed, I'm very impressed with the Ender 2. It is a lot smaller than my Vinci 1.0, so it takes up a lot less space, and overall I'm really impressed with the results. The price is great too at around $200. I paid over $500 for my Vinci years ago, and with proper belt tension and a glass bed, the Ender is a great printer for anyone looking to get into 3D printing. I'm so impressed with the Ender 2 that I plan to retire my Vinci and use it as my main 3D printer along with my G-Tech Me Creator 2. Anyways, that's it for this video. I'll have links to the 3D printer in the description. Comment, like, share, or subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.